If I'm a small operator or a first-time operator, what are the main points in my tech stack that I just have to have?
There are things that you're doing on a daily basis that you might not recognize that are going to change self-storage. Think about when we travel now. I don't have a ticket in my hand anymore. I'm literally staring at a camera as I'm walking through the gate on international flights. We know these things, but are we applying them to self-storage? And are we looking at those efficiencies, right? Like if I can expose variable amenities to a customer on the fly, like maybe access control, and start to create loyalty programs and such, those are big. No single tech company will ever solve all problems. No way. You don't have to do anything. You do whatever the hell you want. Your investors will suck wind. You got to work with vendors that have the ability to expose information or have the creativity. Is it better for the customer?
What's up, everybody? And today we have an incredible episode, but I need to preface this. I have been traveling, and so I am interviewing Lance Watkins, the CEO of Tenant Inc., and we are talking about technology. Now, I'm down in Newport at Tenant's headquarters, and so it's a little different setup. It's not our usual podcast setup. So the audio is a little different than we're used to, but this was way too good not to share. So I wanted to make sure that it got out to you guys. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Welcome everybody to Self-Storage Income. And today I'm here with Lance Watkins, the CEO and founder of Tenant Inc., also the founder of Store Local, and a whole bunch of other things in the self-storage world. So today we want to talk about what is new and what is going on in the self-storage world, especially in the last few years, especially on the tech front, obviously.
Right.
A lot of it has been, I view, like more democratized and continues to be. I think there's a lot of advantages, but not only are not everybody taking advantage of the tools and resources out there, a lot of people don't even really know or understand. And so hopefully we can update people a little bit on what's out there, but even just the questions they should be thinking about to know. Obviously, tech's one of those things where I look at it and you need to be able to understand it as a tool, but not necessarily how it works, right? And so if we can hit on that'll do a lot.
Yeah, you can't understand how it all works.
No.
Because it's just it's too complex, it's changing too often, but you absolutely can pay attention to how it's changing.
Yes.
your daily routine, right? We can talk a lot of we can talk about a lot of things, and I think at the end maybe we would talk about how it's affecting investors. There are things that you're doing on a daily basis that you might not recognize that are going to change self-storage. And I'll give you an interesting one. Think about when we travel now, right? We all travel a lot, especially as owners of storage facilities. I travel internationally, overseas for our business. I don't have a ticket in my hand anymore. I'm literally staring at a camera as I'm walking through the gate on international flights, and it's just facial recognition. It's grabbing me biometrics, and it's opening the little door, right? Little thing like you getting on a subway or something, and you're getting on a plane. What is that, right? That's video. That sensor is getting everywhere, and if you think about the tools that are at the airport right now for boarding planes, like Clear, for instance.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows what Clear is. That they're probably using it in their travels. Who cares? What does that have to do with storage? Well, maybe you've seen Clear now doing authentication of who you are on your LinkedIn profile. How'd that get there? Right? And what's the power of KYC, know your customer? Is that a tool that's going to help you onboard customers? Is that a tool that's going to open your gates? What's driving that tool? Biometrics and a video. right? Some camera, which is now cheap as dirt, right? It's all software, it's all tech, and it's handling things as complicated as getting on a flight to Dubai or verifying your account on a social media platform. You don't even fill out anything. You don't even talk to anybody. You go up and you put your eyes and stare at the thing and it says go.
Yep.
And you walk out of the airport. We know these things, but are we applying them to self-storage? And are we looking at those efficiencies? All those employees that were involved in that process have been reduced down. The accuracy has gone up. But what always gets my attention is it better for the customer? Is it a better experience for me when I'm traveling through those elements, or when I got this validation or wanting to validate me as who I am on LinkedIn, I was like, oh boy, this is gonna suck, right? Like, I'm gonna go through all this crap, and then all of a sudden I hit the button and I see clear, and I'm like, and I knew they were headed down that path, and I know they're headed into access control, and it was like a relief. Yeah. Right? Because I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to be easy, and I knew it was going to be accurate.
We're going to have to do all this stuff, and it's verification could be a nightmare, documentation, all that stuff. It just got rid of that friction.
Yeah, and so payments are the same way. Again, I beat on this all the time. Remember that you are a customer in areas, and take those experiences you have. I would assume that most of our listeners buy things online. When you're in that process, there are times, particularly if you're shopping for maybe unique things that aren't just on Amazon, there are times where you're like, oh boy, this checkout process is gonna suck. Like, I'm gonna have to create an account. I'm gonna have to create a password. I'm gonna have to probably remember the password someday, and I'm gonna have to go find my wallet. I'm gonna have to do all this stuff. And you see that Apple Pay button?
Oh. If they don't use Apple Pay, I won't even buy it now.
And it's just like, you feel good. And guess what? It brings credibility to the payment or the transaction or to the business. And you believe when you smash the side of your phone twice, the thing's going to show up.
Yeah.
And the transaction's going to happen. And the second you do, you get a notification on your phone that it went through. Right? Mm-hmm. And so these elements make the difference between having somebody frustrated and calling the call center and costing you $20 or $30, or not calling it, right? So payments are radically changing. The Venmos of the world that are owned by PayPal, and PayPal going heavily into AI, and Google Pay and Apple Pay and Cash App. And I'm not suggesting we're going to do all these things, because we're not, because some of them aren't going to be financially feasible, or we're not going to want to pay the surtax in some of those things, but some of them we will want to, and we'll look at the conversion and look at how easily that manages our customers, and we will want to adapt to that stuff. So payments are radically changing right now, and I'm talking like daily practically, right? Like keeping up with that. Same with the video that we talked about with the Clear example. The tools that are out there are, the price has dropped to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're available to all of us. And if you start creatively thinking of how you can use them, and you have tech that's enabled to work with these tools, you are going to place your business in a premium position in the customer's mind, in the conversion mind, within your market, within data.
Yeah.
Freaking data. It was just a few years ago that, and let's just talk about self-storage, because that's what we do, but let's talk about self-storage. Only the public companies really had the capability. A couple private companies, count them on one hand, were using data, and not even using it that effectively, right? Not even using the most sophisticated tools. And now that AI is here, that's all reshuffled. Like public storage, I believe, is on Tableau, right? As BI tool. Well, that was cool a few years ago, right? That ain't so cool anymore, right?
Yeah.
The heads of that company like the data visualization tools, like the big effing deal, right? Like, because they all have data visualization tools now.
Yeah.
What do some of the big boys have? They own things like chat, Microsoft, Power BI, AI overlaying,
Yeah.
as long as you get all the pretty pictures as well. And so data was unaffordable or unmanageable by smaller storage operators just a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's another, just like the video and the payments, it's getting commoditized and it's becoming available to all of us. And you have to have a system that you can interact with. But me, I don't know, 12, 15 stores, what I have, 14 stores, I'm too busy in tech to track, but I couldn't do that last year.
Yeah.
This year, I have got better tools than the public companies have today. And I know that for a fact, because I know what they have. And guess what it cost me? Like, so little.
Yeah.
So little. I'm all in at Microsoft for $20 a seat.
Yeah.
Including that, by the way, that's the most money I could spend with Power BI is $20.
Yeah.
Like, I can't try to spend more. That's how it's commoditized. They have said, we're gonna own this market, right? And guess what? We have one of the biggest chat tools in the world, and we're gonna layer that in. Oh, and guess what? It's gonna also work with all of our other products. Matter of fact, a lot of you, depending on what Office 360 product you're in, you already own it. You don't even have to buy it. You already have access in your bundle.
Well, I think that gets
Right?
to the heart of one of the biggest problems and even questions right now is I think people are overwhelmed. Even the idea of AI and everything that you can do with market analysis and data and leveraging this stuff, it's too much for a lot of people where they look at the tech stack now.
Yep.
And
It's overwhelming.
it is overwhelming. And then you have problems with the lack of or the actual power of the connectivity, meaning that different platforms and how they connect, how they talk, how they work with each other. And I think for operators, we have two sides. We have the business side and then we have the customer side. So we have our tech stack as it runs is a merging or a confluence of the customer's experience and how our back end, so how my employees and how our back end office and our front end employees, all that merge into the customer experience from by the time it starts. And as that merges in, though, if that tech stack isn't aligned and really fluid, you start to get breaks.
If tech isn't making you more money, revenue wise, converting customers better, managing customers better, or if it isn't saving you money operationally, don't effing touch it.
Yeah, it's a waste.
Like, it's a waste. It's a freaking, it's a rabbit hole. You drive yourself crazy.
And by money, we're obviously talking about efficiencies too. So
Yeah.
time, things like that. That's obviously
Can you
money.
you reduce staff? Can you
we're not talking
increase-
about how much you pay for a piece of tech. That's not.
No. Can you increase the speed of certain processes? Can you reduce the amount of people? How can you drive down the number of calls that get to your people? Because we still need people in our product, right? People aren't going anywhere, right? We still need people to service our customers or even to work internally. How do we drive down those calls?
Yeah.
How do we make it so simple that people can use our product? Because our product is pretty damn simple. It's
Yes.
an empty friggin' box, guys.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Now, people think that, oh, you're overcomplicating. No, we're trying to simplify and streamline
And that's
make
the
more
problem,
efficient.
though. And I think it's the problem. And people view it as, oh, this is making something complex that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're actually carving out. So the tech is like, you remember how we used to have, what were they called? I wanted to download a video online, but I couldn't, so we had to compress the video.
MP, well, not MP3.
The compressors. And so we'd compress that data down,
right.
So then we could package it and then we could stream it, or I could send it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I view in like the timeline. So what tech does is it carves out all these things we have to do to get to an end goal, and it compresses it into a more fluid, simple, usable, transferable format. So what looks complicated is actually shortening time frames, getting rid of frictions that should end result in a happier customer and an easier way of delivering the product. And a lot of people confused it's complicated, it's simple, with the fact that my customer doesn't care. That's not the same thing. Meaning that the difference of people successful and online is literally the difference of 1 or 2 clicks. That's it.
No,
that's it.
Yeah. The friction in onboarding customers has to be completely reduced. That's something that we're working on every day, and we're constantly improving. We'll be rolling out improvements on that over the next quarter or two that just blow everybody's mind. But, there's a great video that just was released a little over a week ago. It's the CEO of PayPal. PayPal is one of the largest payment processors in the world globally. They're huge. They have an insane amount of data, and they are starting to compete with Google Pay and Apple Pay, and also Venmo. And so they have understood the peer-to-peer transfer of money, and now that's getting commercialized, right? And that's going into business, and your customers are asking for, your customers are using it, right? So there's so much data there, but the thing that'll shock you if you guys go watch that video, I think it's like a 17-minute video. It's very highly produced. It created a lot of riff on Wall Street about the AI tools that they're using in payments and what they can do with that. Some people were freaking out, but it's listen to the parts of e-commerce and how the drop-off on buying a product in certain obstacles that we used to put in are there. It's huge. It's enormous. I mean, think about it. If your tech kills one conversion of an $1,800 to $2,200 value on a sell, right, for us, if you lose one, right,
yeah, you
have hurt your business, or your tech is costing you. So it is a game of pennies. It always has been a game of pennies, but it's also a game of single percent improvements in those areas and what you can do.
Yeah.
Like tech, you clearly use commoditized tech. You probably looked at the weather before you came out here.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's why you have those high water pants on, right?
Straight.
Because we just had all that rain.
Heard you're going to have rain, so I had to fit a big car because you guys don't know how to drive in rain.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Prepared.
What's up, everybody? The number one question that I get from you guys and others is this a good deal? Meaning, should I pay for this price? Is there opportunity, and what is the risk? Well, we actually do that for you, and we can actually show you and tell you through feasibility studies. We underwrite the asset and the market just exactly how we look at the deal, and we provide you with a full report including financials, competitions, and what's happening in the marketplace. We look at opportunity and risks. These are studies that you'll even need when you go to banks to get money. If you're looking at a storage facility and you want us to analyze that market and deal, follow the link in the show notes to get your feasibility study today.
Well, let's talk about the tech stack then. So what are the components in there? A lot of operators are going, all right, a simple format, I need to lease a unit, they need to pay their bill, when they leave, I need to clean that unit up, get it back ready to lease again.
Yeah, and that's so we're working on multiple steps. There are some companies out there that are oversimplifying the process from the perspective that, I know the attorneys, so I won't use the two public companies' names, but two of the biggest storage companies out there. The number one problem that they're having when they're hiring attorneys with a relationship between the company and a tenant is no contract, right?
Yeah.
Like they got a problem, and it's like, okay, what did they do? What did they sign for the lease? Like, what did they do, right? Like, and you still have these very largest companies that are like, we don't know. You can't just get in our company. Well, you can do anything you want. Like, I don't care what you do. I would recommend that you think about the balance between our statutory requirements, right?
Yeah.
Because we have those 51 states, right, including DC, that we try to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take the basis of a legal contract, offer, acceptance, consideration,
Mm-hmm.
and you figure out how you get across that goal line as quick as possible, as easy as possible, and then you figure out what other statutory components that you have may be specific to your property. It may be specific to the entitlements that you got for that property. It may be to your state. It may be to your business practice that you follow, and you decide where you lay that in. And then you just start to decide on your KYC sort of stuff, know your customer, or your upsells. Like, at what point, how important is some of that fintech to us, right? That insurance,
Yeah.
or that protection. It's pretty important, right? And
Yeah.
where is the time to grab that?
Yeah.
And then how are you measuring all that, right? And I go back to where data is now becoming available. It's becoming available like our customers, it's becoming available because we have been building tools for 10 years now. We've been layering foundations to get there. We didn't just do this overnight.
Yeah.
This has been a 10-year journey. And we are almost to that Shangri-La moment of true attribution, to where we are now pulling in data sets from Google's latest tools with GA4, right? And how, that's a complicated task. We have 3 data projects going on at the same time here at Tenant. 3. And they're almost siloed in a way, which isn't healthy, and it's expensive, but they're all 3 projects that are super complex to get to sets of data sets that we can all then get into what we call our tenant warehouse. So then we can then bring it back out cleanly to a BI tool like Power BI or Tableau or Sisense or ClickView or whatever you want to use. Like, we don't care. We're working with one right now. Well, actually, that's not true. We're working with several, but we think we know the winner for a bunch of reasons. That data set is going to tell you things like the majority of your customers move out on this day. The majority of the transactions happen at this time. The least amount of transactions this time. Adjust operations, right? I'll tell you, here's some freebies, right, for everybody. And these are the reasons, I'm plug myself. I'm going to plug our company. These are the reasons that everybody should be talking to us, and these are the reasons that when we talk about how investors in companies that aren't using this are getting hurt. Something that jumped out at us the other day, what percentage of our online transactions are happening on an iPhone compared to an Android?
Yeah.
Right? So it was just recently that iPhone in the American market surpassed Android as the number one phone. Now it's, I think, 58% of us in America are on this device.
Yeah.
Right? So you would think that 58% of our rentals are coming through this device, right? In the mobile side, right?
Yeah.
And so much of your business on mobile now. If you're not in that area, right, you're not even in the game. Like, if you're even reviewing your stuff on desktop or laptop,
Yeah,
you're just wasting your time.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
yeah, it's like it's cool to
Mobile
chat.
is all that matters.
And it's device specific. Well, so 58% of people are using this, but we are doing double the transactions in renting a storage space with this. compared to an Android in the American market.
I knew
Double.
it would be high,
It's
but I
double.
can't believe it's double.
It's
that's
double.
pretty shocking.
Right? And some of those more extreme siloed datas that now we're getting into our warehouse that we can expose into BI, right? And now we're starting to be able to track the value of those customers, the lifetime of those customers, the days that they're transacting, the time that they're transacting, right? There's so much, no tech, sorry buddy, no cameos for you. We are able to get insights today that just a year ago were just a dream. And then getting, to those true attribution numbers of the different areas that we are investing our money in to work with our customers. Are we getting it? And let's go back to this thing here. Yeah. So we were already on a hyper acceleration for more advanced payment products in our system. Well, it became very fast and simple to prioritize where we go, right? Because we only have so much money and time as a tech company, right? We can't do everything at once, obviously, because we've been spending 10 years to get to where we're at.
Yeah.
But that data told us as a company where our customers are and where we can reduce the frictions. And that's huge, because if I can help my customers convert 1 or 2% more business by streamlining to who we know the user is now of our product,
yeah,
that's monstrous.
Yeah.
I mean, forget about the cost of your software. It's insignificant. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you just made so much more money than with our competitors.
Yeah.
Like that. And operators, trip over dollars to pick up pennies. We say that all the time. This industry, you guys, you do that a lot. The payments side of thing is so deep. Like think about this, right? What do we do now? Like what's the normal process now when we're in an e-commerce situation? We're just getting a credit card out and we're tapping. If we're not using our phone we're tapping, right? Credit card we're tapping. Now when we're having to insert, we're like it feels like it's the USB plug that we had for the last 20 years or whatever, right? Where it's like you plug it in and then you plug it in, then you plug it in this way, right? That's what's happening with credit cards, right? Like you got all these slots and all these devices, and you're like, like now you're just like the ones that are done well. You see that symbol and you're just going, where'd that start? How long ago did those companies that have that tech invest? Now, hopefully I'm not wrong on this, right? Because I'm getting this information online, and you can't
Googled
mistrust that.
Nice, great.
Yeah. No, this is really interesting. So that tech has been around for about 10 years. Well, it's the payment guys that invented that tech. But they knew that they couldn't get the customer to have the wherewithal or sense or trust to do that.
Yeah.
To just tap. So guess what they did? They invested that tech 10 years ago, if I'm getting this story right, and I believe I am. You guys can go fact check me and prove me I'm wrong, because I got this shit online. They went to the train stations and the subway stations and invented that concept of with the ticket or the scan to get on your subway,
yeah,
to train people to do this. This was a training of muscle memory that started 10 years ago for long-term goals of these companies,
customer conditioning,
to get the customers to where they're at today, right?
Yeah.
And so as storage operators, so what? Well, when giant companies have trained your customers on how to do business, it could be a button to click, right? Like the number 2 website in the world, YouTube, right? When we see that triangle now, we know a video is going to play, or we believe with high confidence a video is going to play. So why in the world would we as software people try to reinvent that wheel? Our creatives will. We always got to pull them back. Why do we want to to try to teach our customers anything that hasn't been commoditized, that's not in their daily wheelhouse, that makes them confident in who they're using, makes them familiar, makes them realize, like, okay, this is going to be simple to pay my bill.
Yeah.
This is going to be simple to open my gate. This is going to be simple to open my door. This is going to be simple to go into, auto pay. This is going to be simple to move out. This is going to be simple to move in.
Well, it speaks to the problem, though, the how we are conditioned to utilize. At some point, you hit a vast majority where that becomes the norm, and so instead of being an upgrade or accepted as, it is actually a barrier. And so for operators that do not do it, all of a sudden, it's not even that they can't charge competing prices, but they can no longer capture customers because it is no longer within the infrastructure that they're used to, but it is also not in the methodology that they are built in to consume that product. And that's why we believe that the long-term things like touchless rentals are such a big deal, because you have other industries now that have gone so much to accept it. You put hotels, you do all these things, they move to touchless rentals, and then it is an accepted practice of a customer to accept it. So then if you do not provide it, they will no longer want to, or not even they won't know how, meaning that I don't know how to purchase you. So if I'm looking for a product online and I want to go online to buy a bag of dog food, I go online.
You want to make a reservation for the dog and bag food, right?
That's right, exactly. So if I'm trying to do that, then I don't go to Google or Amazon, right? Because the business thinks that I should purchase online a different way, right? All of a sudden, the customer doesn't even know how to get your product. Right. And that's where we're ending up in storage. And I see operators that they're not tech. They say it's too complicated, which I know a lot of people are listening to this and they're going, okay, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, everything. We're talking about this, but in the fundamental sense, it's about putting your product in the means of which the customer accepts and is willing to participate in this exchange. And if you are not doing it because you think it's complicated, the customer doesn't care what you think. And they don't even know how to purchase in the means. Obviously, we are still in an era of transition, but that is rapidly changing. And two, we've already surpassed the acquisition point not being on mobile. That's done. That's over.
Remember when Amazon started training us all, right, and simplified the process and like that? I was doing this. I might have gone into Ace Hardware for a 100-foot extension cord and actually gone to Amazon to like check the price, right, and be like, geez, guys, like this is cheaper online. Like, I might have negotiated, whatever. I might have checked that. Right now, like, if there's a product, I may go on Amazon and spend more for it. Not a lot more, but I may spend more for it because it's just going to show up.
Yeah, I don't have to go.
And there's been times I have done that where I'm standing there in front of a product. I could take it. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even have to walk up to the counter and get a credit card out and stand in that little line and wait 5 minutes. It's just like slap the side of my phone.
All it takes,
and I believe it's going to show up.
You go to the store and you say, I need this product, and they don't have it. And I immediately go, why did I drive all the way here when I hit buy? And what I've done now is I've just put a negative correlation to that action and a positive correlation with the other one. So that next time I go to the store to do it, I'm not even going to do it because I have a negative correlation with it and a positive. I go, I should just buy it here anyways because I'm going to go down and they might not have it. Then I waste my time, my gas, my money, where I know I buy here, it's going to come. So what they've done is they've put it into a way that it isn't, it's not even that it's a benefit, right? It's a known. I know that I'm going to get what I want, and that's the only reason I was going to the store. And so it makes it very fluid and easy. And when you look at the customer acquisition process and storage, depending on how fluid that is online, your drop-off rates when you're utilizing your online sites. So the marketing to the site to the sell how I look at this acquisition of the customer acquisition and the drop-off rates. I think that's the biggest problem that people have. The clunkiness, they're running ads, they're pushing things to a site, they're not converting.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're not doing it in the way the customers expect. So you do not have the customers
and you don't have the data. Back to data. Like we've always talked about data,
yes.
data. We've heard that for 10 years. And it's just been a great talking point. It's been a pipe dream. None of us really had it. You couldn't correlate everything. You couldn't get it together. You couldn't connect all the dots. That's over.
That's over. Now
That's over. And we are already at REIT plus par today in our system today. Like I go right out there and look at BI tools that I know are superior.
Yeah.
Because I know who built the other ones, right? I know that.
Yeah.
Right? That's today.
Yeah. And that's never happened before.
It's never happened before, and we're going to make that available to the little operator.
So if I'm a small operator or a first-time operator, what are the main points in my tech stack that I just have to have, and why? We got about 10 minutes here, and so what are those points? When I go say, I'm getting into storage here, I want to buy this property, before I even put an offer on it, I know I'm going to put an offer on this thing, and then I go into contract, I have due diligence, I need to see their tech stack, I need to know how can I operate this thing, even if it's not like up to par, but better.
So,
what do I need to have?
Customer first, in my opinion, right? like I am a huge believer of, I mean, this is an Amazon saying, but I feel like I was there, before Amazon, to be honest with you. Obsessed with the customer, right? I had an experience where I bought a car for my mom. I've said this on camera before, in less time than I could rent a 10 by 10 at my store. And I left that day really pissed off. I was like, this is insane. And that started me down a tech path that I've been obsessed with for a dozen years. Customer first. So what does that mean, right? It's got to be cloud. You got to work with vendors that have the ability to expose information or have the creativity, right? Like if I can expose variable amenities to a customer on the fly, like maybe access control, and give them different options and different costs and start to create loyalty programs and such, those are big. Those are customer first deals. So you have to have a tech that is accepting of new products and services, because no single tech company will ever solve all problems. No way.
Nope.
Does it work within your vertical? The tech has to be vertical, and that's a concept. So I'm going to just use my hands if tag doesn't jump up here. So a vertical SaaS, a VSaaS is what we are, means everything to manage your business and your customers are within this vertical, right? Not like we got to go over here to get the CMS system. We got to go over here to get the web, and we got to go over here to get the native, and we got to go over here to get the mobile. We got to go over here to get our data out to a data user like a BI tool. That's how all of you out there that aren't in our system are doing business, because we are the only VSaaS out there, period, right? And your competitors, your customer will tell you they are. Bullshit. This is the only vertical in the industry, just as Toast is when you go pay at the restaurant, just as ServiceTitan is when your plumbers come to your properties, as well as every other product you use. They're in verticals today. They're no longer in these big ERP systems with Salesforce and Oracle and on and on and on, because they're so complicated a storage company can't afford or manage it. It's difficult. We put it all there. You don't have to do anything. You can do whatever the hell you want. Your investors will suck wind. You want to be there because that streamlines for the customer. We did a seminar the other day. People were making changes to their whole portfolio as we were launching products and showing them. I felt it was a very proud moment, And our customers, storage portfolio operators, were literally making dynamic changes to the payment and delinquency and onboarding process live, sitting in the audience, to their whole portfolio. because it was all verticalized from the consumer side to the back end side to the delinquency process. It was all here. They weren't going here and here and here and here and passwords and logins and whatever, and how do we do this and how does it work? That is really critical because you make business decisions quickly, right?
Yeah.
Super important. Data is so important. Get there, because back when I said early with investors, here's where's the tragedy, because I'm an investor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I obviously have my own properties, but I invest in other deals, right? I will no longer invest in a deal, and it's been this way for a while. It's conditional, and it's not because I'm trying to make money over here. It's conditional that that company does certain business practices because I know I will make more money.
Yeah.
Like, I know that. I have the data,
Yeah.
right? And so why in the world would I invest with you when you go over to frickin' some unorganized, overpriced, private equity-led, company, or somebody that doesn't understand the storage industry the way we do, and use that product because I'm going to make less money.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have these really large companies that are going into systems because it's there, or they think it's easy, or it's established, or whatever reason they're justifying, and their investors are paying the price. And as an investor, you don't know it. It might be in the payment system. It might be on the conversion side. It might be on the RevMan side. It might be on the data analytics side, on and on and on. It may be in the more expensive operational platform they need to manage all this crap. But guess what? You're not maximizing your return as an investor. And that is on you. You're a shopper. You can make the decision. You can ask these questions. If they whiteboarded it for you, you'd go, this is a bowl of spaghetti. What are you doing?
Yeah. It needs to be connected and streamlined.
Yeah.
Now, for this, we've got, the suite of products that are all connected, latched on, everything else. We have software, but then we have the back end and the hardware piece that is now becoming more and more important in storage. So on this tech stack and how it interworks with the hardware, that front-facing part, how important do you think that is, and do you think that that is going to be more and more important?
Super important. That hardware needs to work in the cloud, right? Has to work in the cloud, and it has to have open APIs. It is greedy as a provider of a service that you tell your customer that, no, you can only go over here to see the data. Like, you've got to log in and log out. Like the same thing that we know drops off our customers when they rent with us or pay bills with us. All of that, like, they feel more empowered by controlling you, nuts. So that we are seeing a change in, but the legacy providers in our industry still don't get it. They don't understand the frustration of their customers, like, on how they have to do business to solve just a daily function over and over and over again, whether it's on site or from a call center. And as we're moving to remote management, this cloud element becomes even more critical. Mm-hmm. It has to be extendable to all of the functions that happen at a facility, and maybe even extendable to all the services that will enter. I don't think we're very far away from crowdsourcing services at our industry, whether it's janitorial or cleaning out spaces or getting them back into inventory.
Yeah.
I don't think we're very far away from that, because as we go with more remote management models, I mean, Airbnb did it like unbelievably effectively.
Yeah.
Look at all of the business that came up around Airbnb that makes that service work.
Yeah.
Without cloud, wouldn't work.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Wouldn't be able to manage it.
Well, we have exciting things coming up. It's amazing what's happened in just the last few years and how this tech has come downstream. It's mind blowing from 10 years ago, in the last few years, and it seems like it's picking up space, and that's exciting to see, and exciting to see what everybody at Tenant is doing to bring it to the forefront. So everybody go check it out. You can head to the site and follow the link below, and thanks for coming on, Lance. Appreciate it.
Thank you.